Hello, everybody.
Hey, hey.
Welcome to season 2, episode 2 of the Bengal Brothers podcast. And week one's in the books, boys. Ray, it looks
Yes.
like you're muted.
Yeah, I'm muted, bro.
There we go, man. How's it
Who
going,
dey,
guys?
brothers?
Yeah. I wish it was going a
Yeah.
lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt.
Rough week one
No
for
doubt,
Cincinnati
man.
Bengals. And, if you're stopping back through, seeing this VOD in the coming days, or you're live with us tonight, we really appreciate you coming through. And, it was a pretty disappointing weekend for all of us in a lot of ways. But there was a few positives that came out of it. Not a lot, but there was a couple. And hopefully we're going to get to break all those down tonight. And, get some action in the chats. How are you two
Yeah, for
doing
sure.
tonight?
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Just ready to put week one behind us.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, man. I'm with you on that. I was surprisingly I made it on time, guys.
In the
Yeah.
nick of
Had
time.
to had to haul butt back here, man, from Northmont. So a nice little scrimmage tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And, we appreciate it. Everybody appreciates it. We're working the kinks out as we go throughout the week. That's for sure. It's been
Yeah, no doubt, man.
But I think it's time to get into the week one disaster in Cincy. I jokingly named it the Stumble in the Jungle, only because it was another season that we stumbled out of the gates. And, it's
Well,
pretty
let me
frustrating.
start by saying frustration and frustrating is an understatement. All we heard all off season was, we've added some wrinkles. We're going to play more under center. We're going to change the personnel, do this, do that. And we didn't see a lick of that shit Sunday at all. I think there was 4 plays under center that we ran. Uh, and, you got to love Joe Goodberry. He broke down some tape, and it's pretty disheartening to watch him break some of the tape down because the opportunities were there to win this game, to take this game. Yeah, it may have been a tough grind out game, but this is a game we should have won. I mean, it's borderline embarrassing, and you gotta wonder if the situation with Chase and then T Higgins going from I feel the best I've ever felt to hamstring issue once again, which by the way has been a reoccurring theme with them, which is the reason why we franchise tagged him and didn't sign him. That continues to be a problem. It almost makes you wonder if all these issues just kind of didn't blow up this past week. And
Yeah.
and the game plan that we saw on Sunday was a result of that.
Yeah, I mean
Oh,
points on that, man. But I mean, Spark, man, I mean, it's just it, I mean, obviously we had high hopes for the game going off our predictions. But at the end of the day, I mean, under Zach now, I mean, shit, dude, like the record doesn't lie, bro. Like we have
and week one
struggled
and week two.
week one. I think now we're like 1-6 under Zach, under Zach's leadership, week one. And we have never won week two. And look who we faced week two this year. You know what I mean? Like we've never won week two under
Yeah,
Zach.
we're Zach
You know?
is 1-5 in week ones, and Burrow is 1-4. And then the first
Yeah,
2
and
weeks,
then
I believe Zach's 1-10 in weeks 1 and 2, and Burrow's now 1-9. So with
yeah, I
a
mean,
chance
I
to be
pulled it. I
1-11.
pulled it up. Yet I pulled it up. I mean, yeah, dude. I mean, we've never won week two. Week three, we're 4-1-1. So clearly, week three is where we start. And unfortunately, if we're not starting until week three, we're already behind the 8 ball boys in the north.
Right,
I
but
mean,
that was
we
supposed to
just spotted 2
change.
games. Well, it was, but there's a disconnect somewhere between camp to preseason to game one, whether that's game planning, game management, whatever it is, man. Like there is a disconnect right there, and we can never just get off the ground. Period.
Yeah, I honestly,
know?
I think that 2 things are pretty clear coming out of this game. One, if this season had a slight overhaul of the way they're doing a little bit of things to change some things, this coming off season has to be a complete overhaul. Now, I mean, I don't mean just like, hey, we're gonna practice a little more, or we're gonna be more physical, or we're gonna play on. I'm talking about, they're gonna have to go 2 and 3 days in a row. They're gonna have to play more guys in the preseason, if not a little bit every game, or at least the first game and the third game. I mean, like, no matter how you look at it, going into last year, saying that for this year, partially is how we're feeling, and now it's almost like if week 1 and week 2 are taken out of the equation, the Bengals have a top 10 offense and are one of the best teams in football, literally. So if weeks after 1 and 2, literally over the past 4 years, we're one of the best teams in football and we have a top 10 offense. But you throw in week 1 and week 2, and it's almost like, I don't know, it's like a weird cartoon where they keep buying Acme products in weeks 1 and 2, and they blow up in their face. And then the week 3, like, okay, let's buy a name brand bomb. Because for whatever reason, that call them unprepared, call them undisciplined, weeks 1 and week 2 coming out of the off season, they fucking suck. I mean, it's
and in this case,
years in the making.
It might have been one of those things where, we know who we're facing week 2, and we might have been looking.
I think that was a big part of it.
I mean, we were just looking too far in the future, preparing for Kansas City and Arrowhead.
Right.
I mean, that could be a bullshit excuse,
Which
but at
it
the end of
is,
the day,
because
it could very well be the case. I mean, look at New England; they're trash, man. I mean, we had that many miscues. Well, I mean, well, goddamn, bro, look how many miscues we had. Look how many turnovers we had, and they beat us by 2 field goals. They're not a good fucking team. You know what I mean? That's the definition of a team beating.
I think they're better than what people give them credit for.
I agree.
Give them credit for
I
defensively. But here's the thing. I mean, we're going to talk about, we're going to move on to the Chiefs at some point, whatever. We're going to talk a little bit about Burrow. But, like, to me, the definition of this game was, in a lot of ways, how the Bengals have won so many games the past 2 or 3 years, even when Burrow wasn't on the field. We played discipline. The Bengals are one of the best tackling teams. They've been, last year defensively was bad, but it was an anomaly for what it's been the past 5 years. There's a big lack of communication. We've talked at nauseum over all that. But at the end of this game, for 55 minutes of getting their ass whooped, they got the ball back with 2 minutes, 10 seconds and 2 timeouts. And your defense held an NFL offense to 16 points. And you go 3 plays and out and never get the ball back. Now, we can sit here and talk about the decision to punt. We can talk about the decision to go for it. But everything prior to that is almost irrelevant because it's week 1. This is September. I mean, Bill Belichick, Andy Reid, the biggest coaches, some of the greatest coaches ever have said September is a glorified preseason for teams to figure themselves out. Bill Belichick just said it yesterday on Pat McAfee show. The difference is you shouldn't be so wildly inconsistent from week 1 to week 2. So there's a massive disconnect there to where we go from being week 1 and 2, we're dog shit, to 3, 4, and beyond. We just continue to grow. Now, if this week 1 is the worst game all year, just like last year's was, just like the year before that, just like the year before that, the week 1 for the past going on 4 years has been the worst game of the entire season. So if you look at it through that lens, this is one of the best week 1s they've had because they at least had a chance to win it at the end of the game. But when Burrow is in the post-game conference, it says, I miss Chase, I miss Moss, and then I miss Reddit, basically, the coverage. That's week 1 weirdness. I don't know how else to explain it.
Well, why don't we get into talking a little bit about Burrow? Because, like I said, I'm sure we all follow Joe Goodberry, and he does great work. And from the very beginning of Sunday's game, Joe Burrow was not the Joe Burrow we're used to seeing. He was missing all kinds of shit. And I'm not saying missing it by, his throws being off. I'm saying his progressions, he was missing shit that Joe Burrow normally, he'll let it rip. He'll just let it several times. It's like, what is going on here? Is his wrist still bothering him? Is it a mental thing? Is he just not adjusted because he's not had the reps in preseason and live action that it takes him a few games to, get in rhythm? I mean, I just know that's one of the most disappointing times I've been in Joe Burrow is watching that video of Joe Goodberry and breaking down his tape because that's not the Joe Burrow that we're used to.
I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, when was the last time he stepped on the field and played a game?
10
Right?
months, right? Yeah.
Like you got to take that into account, So did he look like shit? Absolutely. I'm not going to defend Burrow whatsoever. But I mean, a lot of it plays into, I think, the play calling. Again, it's not a shot at the new offense coordinator or anything like that, but it's a new system in a sense. So my thing is right there at the end of the game, you have an opportunity as a coach to reassure Joe, who's played like shit all day, right, to get some of that mojo back. And him punting on 4th down, boys, I'm not going to lie, I was pissed, right? Because the way I'm playing the game is, yeah, our defense hasn't played bad, right? But at some point, you have to light a fire under your offense's ass, right? So it's 3rd and 10. It's 2-down territory. You want to gain at least 5 yards. We achieved that on that 3rd down. We achieved that 5 yards. So why Zach decided to punt the ball? Again, like he can say it's the analytics. He could say our defense, was playing good enough, blah, 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 right? But at that point in the game, dude, I don't give a shit. Because at the end of the day, if the defense don't get the stop, we're going to lose the game anyways, and that's exactly what happened. So it's 2-down territory. You got 2 downs to pick up 10 yards. We achieved 5 yards on the 3rd down. I'm fucking going for it on that 4th down, dude. Again, if we turn the ball over, the game's over anyway. So fuck it, Like that's the mentality that Cincinnati has been missing these past 2 or 3 years, man. Like we have to have this cutthroat mentality. Like we are the fucking best. Instead of talking this shit and then getting in the game and acting different. Like
By punting the ball, by punting the ball, you're playing not to lose and not playing to win. Right? I mean, that's essentially you're playing not to lose. And
well, it's not an aggressive move. It's
I'm agreeing with you. No, I'm agreeing with you. Yeah, exactly. You're playing not to lose instead of to win. Now, traditionally, in that situation, yeah, most teams are going to punt the ball. There's coordinators around the league who go for it way too much on 4th down. We've talked about that.
We had timeouts, 2-minute warning.
But honestly, again, like, and I want to push back on both of you about a little something, just because that's the vibe I'm in. Like Burrow is not in the new system. Burrow has literally should have a master class in this system. Burrow has been this offense, and Zach and Brian Callahan and Dan Pitcher as his quarterback coach prior to this year they've been open about it. Every single interview you see between all of them mention how it's a collective. It's them in the group talking about concepts and 3rd down situations and red zone concepts and them all putting the pieces together. This week I heard that Burrow checked into that screen on the 4th and 2. It was a check with me, and Burrow checked at the line and threw that bubble screen through 1 yard on a 4th and 2. 1 yard screen on a 4th and 2. And most of the 3rd downs on the game, it would be 3rd and 9, and Burrow would throw a 7-yard dig. It would be 3rd and 6, and Burrow threw a 5-yard slant. And it would be, literally, he didn't throw past the sticks. I think only 3 times all games was it like more than a 10-yard throw that he actually attempted down there. Or I'm not sure if that's the exact number. But my point is, coming into this game, week 1, if the Bengals win this game and you looked at the game plan and you said, we're going to come out and run the ball, which 6 of the 9 plays on the 3 and outs were runs. So they literally came out and said, we're going to run the ball. They ran it on 1st down, all 3 of the opening drives, which the Bengals traditionally, how often do we talk about stop throwing the ball on 1st down? Well, Dan Pitcher and Zach came out with Burrow, and they ran the ball on 1st down, all 3 of those drives. And then you go 3 straight 3 and outs. The game is heavily in the momentum of New England, and then you drive all the way downfield. My point is that beside from the first 3 drives and the last drive, Burrow played like Burrow. Like Burrow, to me, you watch the tape, yeah, you can go through and nitpick all the reads he missed in a week 1 game against a team that has a new head coach and new structure, and you don't really have game tape on what they're going to look like. And yeah, he got fooled because Burrow's human. But in the beginning of the game, you have 12 to 15 scripted plays that are, like I said, if you win the game, it looks like, hey, we came out and ran the ball. But all the running that we had success on was the drive that we scored a touchdown on, which was them running 12 personnel, which I'm sure we'll talk about at some point. It to me, it's like if they win the game, they get the ball back on that last drive and they put together a drive and go score it, even though it's 90 yards and you win the game, the first 55 minutes, no one's going to care about. But because they lost the game, and I understand that's huge, the entire Bengals world has been an uproar that here we go again. And it's kind of frustrating because this is what they've been. Now, hopefully that they make a turnaround after game 2, because we don't know how this week's going to go. I don't know, but I'm done ranting. My point is just, it's frustrating.
It is, and you can't help but see what I thought was pretty glaring is several times Burrow had a great pocket and nobody to throw to, and the whole Tyler Boyd leaving town thing, I kind of knew was going to hurt us a little bit until I'm sure eventually they're going to get it figured out, slot by position, by committee. But that didn't help shit at all Sunday. It's not several times he's hopping around and there's nowhere to go with the
He
ball.
had happy feet. He was actually pressured like the lowest
He
tick of
looks
his
more like
career.
Andy Dalton than he's ever looked since he's been here. Sunday. I mean, it was like typical Andy Dalton shit. Don't throw to the sticks. Start to panic in the pocket. And the situations in the game doesn't come through.
I mean, honestly, man, for me, it wasn't so much. I mean, just Burrow. I think it was.
No, I agree.
It was a collective of the offense, and it didn't stop at the players. I think it started with the coaching. I think it started with the play calling. I mean, it was just flat.
It was vanilla. It was a preseason offense.
That's what they've been for 3 years. It's
right.
Just,
there's not motions. There's not.
Well, no. There's no identity. There's no concept. It's just everything is fucking flat and dull.
Well, my argument with that is that you're right. That it is who they are, but at some point or another, you got to show the progression of your offense, as a whole. And I didn't see any progression in that offense. That looked like the same shit we've been seeing for 3 years.
I'm sure some of it is that they're getting ready to play the Chiefs. But again, it's irrelevant if you hold something back if you lose week one. Especially when you've needed to have a fast start.
One of the biggest things I'm so sick of hearing is I took what the defense gave us. Well, guess what? You don't see Tua and Miami and Tyreek Hill just taking what the defense gives their asses, because I'm sure there's a cover 2 shell or whatever, and they managed to get the ball down the field. Now I'm sick of the shit of I take what the defense gives me. Well, sometimes you got to be aggressive and you got to take those shots. Stop taking what we should be the ones dictating what the defense does, not the other way around, and that is so damn frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, if we had any identity in this week 1 game, it was that we are soft, we are passive. You know what I mean? Like we're just okay with it. Like
that we're safe. That's what it is. We're safe.
The coach is being passive. The players are being passive.
I think
there's no aggression. There's no mentality.
This game reminded me of a Marvin Lewis game where you're playing not to win or not to lose. You're just playing not to lose.
19 throws were 5 yards or less.
Yeah.
5 yards or less.
Honestly, I think I was most disappointed just because I think collectively it was a lack of execution. You have the entire offseason prepared again. It's tough to prepare week 1 in general, let alone against a team that you know nothing about. So I get that. But the adjustments during the game, it was almost like they said, hey, we got a game plan coming in and we don't want to show too much. And we're going to stick to this the entire game, hell or high water. And they did at ultimate and the plays that you need somebody to make a play when Burrow or Chase or whoever, nobody's making a play. Defense, Dax Hill, missed tackles. I mean, it was literally that type of day
Let me push back against that a little bit, because I know week 1, you don't know what the other team's going to do, but all week it was the going theme. Everybody knew what they were going to come in here and do. They were going to come in and buck up the game, and they were going to run the ball and try not to make mistakes. And that's exactly – we knew what they were doing. Several times they just lined right back up in that 13 personnel and say, come stop us, Cincinnati. Stop us. And we no answer for it.
Yeah.
I know that's for the defense side, but it was like we knew what they were going to do coming in this week. You even said it yourself, Reg. They're going to muck this game up. They're going to limit the possessions of the Bengals offense, and that's exactly what they
48
did.
offensive snaps.
And we had no
They
fucking
didn't have
answer.
one game all last year. They had less than 48 snaps.
No fucking answer. I know it's week one
Offensively.
and we're used to this shit, but at the same time, come on, guys. When is this shit going to change? And now we got to wait a whole nother year.
Man.
Now we got to wait a whole nother year for them to figure some shit out and hopefully.
I mean, there's 17 weeks left in this season.
But
they're focused on the Chiefs right now.
I know, but I'm talking about a whole nother year to wait so we can start.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. Go ahead, Ray. I know you've been waiting.
It's all good, dude. Like, it's just a mentality thing, dude. You know, whether that's on our coaches, you know, I mean, I think a big part of it is, I mean, not preparing them mentally. That's fine. Everything might look fucking great when you're practicing it on air, bro, or against your own B team defense or A team defense, whatever the case is. Everything might look great. And regardless if you have footage on your opponent or not, you should have the mentality of fucking stop us. You know what I mean? Like, we're the big dog. We're going to come in there. We're going to run the ball down your throat. We're going to pass the ball down your throat. Like, and we don't have that mentality. Like, we just don't. Zach doesn't have it. Fucking nobody's got it, bro. Lou is the closest person on that coaching staff that has that mentality. Yeah. You know, that's it.
I mean, think about it.
Week 1 and 2, it's
the joint practice with the Bears. They made us look silly.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Because again, they came in with aggression, and aggressive players win 9 times out of 10, bro. If you're soft, this sport ain't for you. It just ain't.
Again, the defense they played. Like I said, aside from the anomaly of last year, that's how the Bengals defense has been the past 3 or 4 years. They rally to the ball. There's few missed tackles. They play very sound and structured. And last year was a lot of what we saw on Sunday. I mean, missed tackles were out the yin-yang, and when the offense is, you know.
So real quick, back to the Burrow issues, man. Like I said, I really think, dude, it's been a long time since he's been in the game and had the speed of the game in his face. And, you know, hopefully he bounces back week 2 against Kansas City, you know, now that he's got a taste of it again, because it has been a long time since he's been out there and felt the speed of the game. So hopefully Burrow bounces back, man. You know, I mean, that's
the Chiefs usually bring the best out in this.
Hopefully the defense bounces back. Hopefully Zach and the coaching staff bounce back.
This is our worst game.
Special teams, exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
honestly,
only way to go is up from here. You know?
I'm tired of games like this for only one main reason. And it's because I can't be pissed off at the loss because I have to defend the team to such casuals. Because it drives me insane when I get onto social media after a loss and literally I screenshots it. The same people that will literally 6-7 weeks from now, when the Bengals are battling for the division or battling to make the playoffs or in the playoffs and doing well, will be the same people who act like they never jumped off the train, who act like they were not right leading the front line of acting like this team is god awful. And yes, they played god awful on Sunday. And honestly, that's about to start a game and to finish a game, that's about as bad as Burrow's been in his career. And statistically, it wasn't that bad, but he just biggest drive of the game. You lost for 55 minutes. You get the ball back with 2:10 and 2 timeouts. And that is what's made Burrow an elite quarterback are those situations. So
right, and if you want to be MVP quarterback, you know, and that's what I said. You know, right at the start of that drive. Here we go. This starts Joe Burrow's MVP bid for this season. You know, 90 yards, 2 minutes and 4 seconds. And honestly,
on the clock. I'm going to couple that with. Honestly, in my opinion, Zach needs to, as Ray was saying, take the team by the balls mentality and stop giving Burrow a check with me. I know you're building the offense up. There's times where, as a coach, in my opinion, you should take it solely on the chin of responsibility. I'm making this play call. I'm going with my gut in this decision using analytics, or however your philosophy comes together, and you make the decision. You don't cop out and say, hey, go out here in the biggest moment of the game on a 4th and 2 and a week 1 game when you've protected Joe the whole game. The fact that they ran the ball the first 3 drives so much as they did tells you got a quarterback who hasn't played in 10 months, who's coming back into a week 1 game. What are you going to do? That is what everybody thinks you should do. which is run the ball. And they did, and it didn't work. And they went 3 straight 3-and-outs. And when they started moving the ball, passing a little bit in meaningless garbage minutes between the second and third quarter, within the between 8 minutes to halftime and 8 minutes after halftime, which is pretty much where all his stats came from. And when your defense is holding them to 16 points, but still getting gashed, Zach's got to take it on the chin and say, I'm going to call in this play, and this is the play you're going to run. If the worst case scenario look is there, you check to something else, but it better still be similar to what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Zach has to take that and be like, no, I called that play. I went with my gut. We should have done this. But to give the basic answer after you punt the ball, it's a perfect example how he's handled some things, which is frustrating. As he's just like, I have 2-10, 2 timeout. You trust your defense there. Oh no! If you trust Burrow, then you put the ball in Burrow's hands to try to keep the ball.
Right. That's what it comes down to. Is he didn't trust Burrow Sunday in that situation.
Gage said, I personally feel that Burrow needs to be more confident. He knows he has the potential. He just needs more opportunities.
He didn't look confident Sunday, really.
He doesn't look confident any week 1.
Yeah.
Or 2. And to Ray's point, that's a coaching issue.
Yeah.
No matter how good you are, Patrick Mahomes is great. But Patrick Mahomes plays confident weeks 1 and week 2.
Again, you have the opportunity. As a coach, you have that opportunity, right? Fuck the other 58 minutes that just happened in the game.
Exactly.
Looking forward down the road, regardless of whatever happens right now, I'm making a point to show my quarterback and the offense that I stand with them. Yeah, the defense has played great. Whatever. I don't care what the analytics say. I'm putting it out there. We picked up the 5 yards we needed to pick up on third down. It's 4th and 5. Either we get it or we don't get it. I'll live or die with that. But at the end of the day, I'm going to put the ball in the best player that I can. But it goes back to play calling. And some of the play calling in that game was absolute ass, bro. It's not a shot at Yoshi, but why the fuck we telegraphing a wide receiver screen on a 4th and 2, bro? This ain't high school. What the fuck? This is a National Football League, bro. What are you
Honestly,
doing?
I think this game was a big indicator of how they feel about Yoshi and Charlie Jones and all them. Not them. By them, I mean Burrow. Without T being out there, you could tell that Burrow trusted Jasicki and Tanner Hudson and guys like that more than he did Yoshi or Charlie Jones or Trent Rowan.
Look,
that was clear.
All I'm saying is
they weren't getting separation.
All I'm saying is if you're going to coach and you're going to play call from a soft side of the page, that shit will trickle down right into your players, regardless if it's offense or defense, dude. And it will show its rear head in the fucking game. And that's what it did, dude. That's just absolute bullshit, dude. When he fucking punted that ball, dude, I was pissed. I was telling my wife, you know what? It's 3rd and 10. We just need 5 yards right here, honey. We just need to get 5 yards. And that's exactly what we got. And then he punched the fucking ball. Are you serious?
Honestly, what's frustrating to me is I don't think that the players or Zach are like that through stretches of the regular season. I mean, to me, it's a week 1 and week 2 issue. There's been times where they go into this cocoon because, before they went on that 7-game win streak in 22 or whatever it was, we lost almost 4 straight, 3 straight. We lost one, went into the bye, came out, lost another one, and lost the final. Oh God, are we going to slide? And then they went on a 7-game streak. But to me personally, even last year's bad defense played more physical than the Sunday's defense.
Yeah.
And honestly, Burrow is about as tough as a quarterback gets. Chase is tough, but for some reason, whether it's the lack of physical practices, which we know Chase didn't have, or whatever, I mean, the offseason is a long time away. And the only thing we hope is this time next year we're saying something different, because this is 2 years in a row now. It's conversation after week 1,
but it's going to continue though. We're
about to go into the Chiefs.
No, bro.
So we just played dog shit.
Since Marvin retired and Zach came along, this has been our motto, bro. This has been our.
We're a finesse team. We're a finesse team.
It continues this year.
We're just a lost ass fucking team. I don't give a shit.
That's
bro.
not true.
It is
Since
absolutely
Marvin Ray, we've
true,
been to a
bro.
Super Bowl and back-to-back AFC championships.
I'm not
You're
talking
not
about.
lost team
I'm not
if you
talking
haven't
about
had
the
success.
regular season. I'm talking about how we start our seasons.
Week 1
I'm
and
not
week 2.
talking about all season. I'm talking about how we start our season since
that's what I've been talking about this whole time.
Exactly, bro. It's
this team has a lot of identity.
You're not understanding my point. That's what I'm saying. That's the fucking point. is Zach. When you look at his face expressions on the sideline, bro, like I just want to go down and slap him, bro. Like, you guys got pissed off at me last year when I said Zach was in the fucking hot seat, bro. Like, he's in the fucking hot seat. Like, there's no excuse you can give me, dude. There is no excuse you can give me whatsoever, bro, to say that the Cincinnati Bengals, with the roster that we have on both sides of the ball, can't win a fucking opening game at home against the New England Patriots.
We're
going to
see
new coach, a new quarterback, have no identity.
100%.
It's a fucking joke, bro.
But guess what,
But
Ray?
It's a
Guess
joke.
what? This
It's
is the
a
NFL.
sad fucking joke.
Gerard Mayo has been in the Patriots organization as much as everyone thinks there's a lot of turnover.
Okay. First off,
hold on. Let me finish.
No,
let me finish.
I don't care.
We're gonna see how much homework you did for the head coaches. We're gonna see how much homework you did for the head coaches, because if you looked at the statistics of our 10 head coaches in our franchise history, you'll see that Zach ain't the bum you think he is. And by the way, let me tell you something. No. Let me stop you here. You and Zach are really close in age. Think about how nervous you get before games. Zach took a team from Marvin Lewis that had one playoff game in 31 years. And we overnight, our top end has changed, ownership has changed, mentality, and a big part of that is Joe Burrow. But guess who's a big fucking part of that? The guy who came in and interviewed with an entire team with a 5-year plan.
Bro,
and in 3 years got this team to a Super Bowl and back-to-back AFC championship. No, my point is that
but there is a
week 1 and 2 are an anomaly, and they need to change it. I 100% agree. That's what I've been saying this whole time. I've been more negative through the first part of this podcast than I ever am, and I hold Zach accountable. But when you sit here and say this is a team that has no identity, and since Marvin Lewis left, this team has not been a physical team, is flat out wrong. Because Lou Anarumo's defense has been a staple in this league for 3 years.
Hey,
this offense has been a top 10 offense aside from the first 2 weeks of the year for 3-4 years now. So last I checked, that's pretty damn fucking good, especially for a team that hadn't won a playoff till 3 years ago.
Pretty fucking soft the fucking start of the season every season.
And I've been saying that this whole time.
Down from the head fucking coach.
100% it does. And I've been saying that this whole time.
Fucking coach. So I don't know what the disconnect from camp to fucking preseason
100% agree
is, but we're absolute dog shit. We couldn't be
week
a
1 and week
high
2
school team week 1, bro. Like it's
come on.
Dude, I mean, look how bad we fucking played. Like, look how bad.
I know, but what you're failing to realize.
Let's keep Charlie back there returning fucking punts, right?
And they will.
Get the fuck out of here, bro.
What you're failing to realize when it came to New England is there's still a championship pedigree in New England, whether anyone wants to believe it or not. That team still has a championship pedigree.
That wasn't my point at all about anything about New England.
That team,
they play fundamental.
My point is everything about the Bengals. I sat
here last week and said it was going to be a tough game. Don't underestimate that defense of New England. Didn't I sit here and say that? It is what it is.
You're basically stating that the New England Patriots defense beat us, right?
No, God, no.
That's what you just stated that, bro.
Stated. I said they have a championship pedigree, dude.
Stopped us. Bull fucking shit, bro. The Patriots
they stopped us to an extent, dude. They stopped us to an extent.
The New England Patriots don't win 7 games this fucking
season. Like I said, dude, you're so stubborn. Bengals got the ball back with 2:10 and 2 timeouts and couldn't win the game.
Bro.
We didn't, so they stopped us.
I 100% that goes from Zach all the way down. I've said that the first 30 minutes of this podcast. My point is that is all, in my opinion, exclusive to week 1 and week 2, because outside of that, they're pretty much a top 15-10 offense and one of the best teams in football outside of week 1 and week 2.
4-1-1. Week 3.
Listen, man, if you want to be mad, be mad at Dax Hill for not tackling their running back on that last third down.
Defense.
You know, they kept lining up in 13 personnel and said, "Stop us, Bengals." Nope. Did we stop them?
Nope.
Hey,
but you know what? We punted them the ball back, didn't we, Zach?
But they played mistake-free football, stuck to who they are and what we knew they were going to do.
They had the lowest missed tackle rate in the entire league. Right. They had no turnovers, and Jacoby Brissett. There was some weird statistic I saw of his.
He doesn't make
average success rate per play was like 90-some%. I mean, they literally played probably their best game all year.
As the great Belichick would say, on to Cincinnati. I think we should move on to Kansas City. And just week 1's gone.
Well, newsflash: the record for week 2 is just as bad.
Yeah, we've never fucking won 2. Under Zach.
And not in 6 years.
Never won.
Nope.
The
Do you
only
think
well,
this
one
point
game
spread
we
will
won-
be?
The only week 1 game we won was against the Vikings.
In overtime.
Do you think we'll
overtime.
be the biggest point
Yeah.
spread this week? Like
But
last
outside
week?
of those 2 games, this team's pretty fucking good and has given us, I don't know, the best time to be a Bengals fan, which we say all the time.
Again, I
Right.
agree with you, brother. But the problem is that in this sport, in the National Football League, with the speed and the pace, dude, every game counts. If you continuously start every fucking season 2 games behind your division opponents, you are forcing your team
100%
play as
agree.
hard as they can, and then there's where injuries arise throughout the season. Right?
I'm going to say something really quick, okay?
Okay, bro.
I never said it was a good thing that they suck week 1 and week 2. Never once has that come out of my mouth. In fact, I spent 30 minutes bashing Burrow and Zach and this offense for
Why are
being
you
stale
getting
and
so
stagnant
close to
too.
the microphone, bro?
Because I'm trying to make a point.
I
that
understand your point,
To
and I
say
said I
since
agree.
Marvin
They're
Lewis
ass,
left,
bro.
this team has been that way is completely bonkers.
It's a fact.
They need
Guess
to change offseason to
It's
come
a
into the
fact.
season better, 100%. But this team has proven they are a good team.
I
roster
understand
depth.
that, but
We've had
shouldn't
multiple
have
episodes talk
to
about how
do
good
that.
this roster is. from
Okay,
depth.
look, brother. I understand your point. You're not understanding my point, which is we should not have to do that. We shouldn't come
I
in.
agree.
Can I finish? We shouldn't have to come in and start the fucking season with this passive aggressive mentality.
But we
I
do.
agree.
It's okay.
But
It's
we do.
okay. We lost again. Oh, it's
I
okay.
Guess
agree.
what?
We've
Guess
never
what,
won week
guys?
2.
Guess
Like,
what,
the
guys?
fuck, man?
Guess
That's
what?
a fucking problem.
Guess what,
That's a
guys?
I 100% agree.
Listen, guess what? I don't care how we start the year at this point. As long as we make the dance, we know we have a shot at Super Bowl. We could start 0-2, 0-3. But
We
this
could
team
be
has
like
proven.
Dallas.
This
and
team
be
has
good in
proven
the early
that they
season,
can turn it
suck late in the
around.
season.
This team has proven they could turn it around. They can win playoff games and AFC Championship games. So guess what? I don't give 2 fucks how we start the year anymore. As long as we get into position to make the dance, I'm happy, man.
Joey.
Dude, I understand.
I very much care
I
about
I
week 1
understand
and
that,
week 2.
Bingo Bob. But at the end of the day, dude, this loss, week fucking 1, could rear its head back down the road week 15, week 16. Like, damn.
Well, that's a good
just would've
segue.
beat the
That's a good
Well,
segue
if we
because the
just
week
would've
2
beat the
loss to the
Patriots,
Chiefs is
you
really
know?
going to. That's a
Right.
good segue because the
Exactly.
week 2 loss to the Chiefs would definitely rear its head later in the year too.
The
So
only
that's a
way
good
it
segue
would rear
into
its
the
head
Chiefs.
with New England is if New England ends up being a good team, which they probably won't. So guess what? That first game, who gives
No,
2
that
fucks
loss
about it?
is going to count,
over.
bro. That loss is going to count. If it comes down to us in Baltimore at the
Not
end
as
of the
much
year,
as you think, because Baltimore lost week 1 too.
Yeah, okay, so if it comes down to us in Pittsburgh, and they have one game,
We all know Pittsburgh ain't doing shit.
bro, if they have one game over us,
Your
it comes
argument
back
has
to
no
that
backbone to it.
you
Sorry.
you clearly don't understand what I'm
That,
fucking saying.
that argument has no backbone.
If it comes down to a 13-4 finish versus a 12-4 finish, right, or 13-3 versus a 12-4, whatever the fucking shit, bro, that one game is gonna matter. That loss to New England. will
If you're
count
telling
at
me
the
we're
end
going
of
to
the
win
fucking
12 or
year.
13 games, I don't give a fuck about losing to New England week 1, Ray.
You
Sorry.
will. You
That
will.
argument has no backbone to
Because
me.
that one
If we win
game
12 or
is the
13
difference
games, who
between
gives
the
a fuck
one
about
seed-
week 1, dude?
Because that's the difference in winning your division and not winning your division. Because
You
at the end of
think-
the day, it comes
you
back
think-
to your record, bro. Doesn't matter if it doesn't matter if it's the Patriots, the Cardinals, the Vikings. Doesn't
You're
matter.
lagging so
The
hard.
loss is the fucking loss, bro. And if we lose our division by one game, guess what? It comes back to that Patriots game that we should have fucking won. That's why week 1 matters. That's why week 2
It
matters.
100%
That's
does.
why week 3, week 4, week 5, every fucking week matters, bro.
It 100%
It's one
does.
loss. It's week 1, one loss.
The
Get
the
over
world's
it.
not over.
Get over it, dude. Let's move on to Kansas City.
Bro,
Okay,
again, I
can you
am
do
over
that?
it. I
All
am
right,
over
then.
it.
Let's
You're
move on to
not
Kansas City.
understanding the
Let's move on to
ramifications.
Kansas City, and
Okay,
hopefully
let's move
your
on to
boy
Kansas
Dax
City,
Hill can
bro.
make some tackles this week. Okay? Hopefully your boy Dax Hill can make some tackles this week.
Shit.
All right,
Well,
kick us in there, bro. Kick
Week
us in
2, we're going right into Kansas City following a disastrous Sunday that has Bengal fans in a roar everywhere. So here we go into week 2. Bobby, you want to kick us off in about
Hey,
Kansas
go ahead,
City?
Bobby.
No.
We're all about the Chiefs, bro.
Mr. Coach Ray has plenty to say, so let's let him kick it off.
No, go ahead. I'm actually looking something up, bro. because I forgot to look this up earlier. So go ahead, Reggie. Go ahead and kick us in there, bro.
All right. Here's the deal. To close out for the Patriots, right? This was week 1, week 2 anomaly, in my opinion.
Real quick,
Everybody's
upset.
upset.
Hey, real fast. That's why I had to look it up, bro. You keep bringing up Dax Hill. He led the fucking team next to Logan in tackles with 7, bro. So keep running your mouth about Dax Hill all you want, bro. But he was the second leading in tackles with 7, right next to Logan Wilson, who had 7. So again, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
What's that matter if you miss big tackles at big moments at situational football? You can have as many tackles as you want. That don't mean shit if you miss the big tackles. Now,
All right.
continue, Reggie.
To wrap up the Patriots.
Wrap that shit up, bro.
To wrap up the Patriots, honestly, this is football. And that happens. The team, coaching staff, organization, fan base, everybody overlooked the Patriots. And I don't care. We all three here said and did it. Anybody watching this right now across all 3 platforms, we got 21 people watching. So thanks, guys, for joining us tonight. And the reality is, this was a week 1 that had some of the worst offense we've seen in 5 or 6 years. Pretty sure the fewest touchdown passes were thrown week 1 this year than there's been in like 4 or 5 years. I think it was the lowest average quarterback rating. Defenses as a whole dominated week 1. There was a few teams that popped off, but I think the average for quarterbacks around the league was like literally 179 or 189 yards. Like, it was low. This was a week that offenses pretty much, defense is pretty much dominated most of week 1 around the league. And we all, the Bengals, the coaching staff, everybody coming into this game either was preparing too much for the Chiefs in week 2, or however way they looked at it, they weren't prepared to play. And statistically, they're going to do it again in week 2 because that's what they've done under Zach in 6 years. Weeks 1 and weeks 2 have been terrible. So they had you wrap up Sunday's game, and they I'm sure they watched tape on it yesterday or today, and some of them probably Sunday night because it said so bad and they wanted to get it over with. And for probably about 24 hours now, they've been focused on Kansas City. So I think this game, like Ray said, week 1, every game does matter in some way. Every game doesn't matter in some way because it's a new week every week. So coming into Kansas City, if they're not fully focused on cleaning up the missed tackles, adding a little bit of wrinkles of creativity in the offense, running some 12 personnel because their stats were great in it on their scoring drive, it's going to be another bad week. It will be because you're going to be in Kansas City. They're going to be loud. It's going to be you just played a home game and didn't have consistent offense. Now you're going into one of the loudest environments in professional sports. So you got to put your nose to the grindstone, put your head down. And here's the thing. We're not saying anything they don't know. They're a smart enough group. Burrow is motivated enough. You better believe they're all walking around with their jaws clenched because they're hearing Coach Ray. They're hearing the national media. They're hearing everybody around the league saying, damn, the Bengals got out physical by the Patriots. And you lose a game to a new head coach, and, all you can do is focus on week 2.
At the end of the day, I just want them to get pissed, bro.
I'm sure they are.
I want to see some aggression, and not just from Burrow, not just from our fucking players, from our coaches, man. Like, there has to be a passion there. And when you look at Zach and him on the sideline, like, there's just like that passion, that anger, that, you know what I mean? Like, it's just not fucking there. And if
they are who we thought they were.
And if he
week
shows
1
up,
and week 2, for sure.
If he shows up in Arrowhead like that, absolutely, he's going to get out coached. We're going to get outplayed. I think the spread right now is at 6 points in the Chiefs' favor.
They will, if we show up playing like we just played against New England, Kansas City will blow our asses out.
It ain't going to be a 16-10 game.
No, it won't. Sure. We will get blown out if we can't answer. The good thing is even without Burrow, this team fucking shows up to play Kansas City. They barely got by us last season with a backup quarterback. So hopefully they make the changes and they come in fired up, play fast, play physical. Let's make this a game. Let's make this, we have the number 1 CBS crew on us. A lot of the nation's watching us. A lot of the world's watching. It's time to, put our noses down and go to work this week and come out with a win.
Yeah,
What do you
I
think,
agree,
Ray?
man. Yeah, I agree. It's just, who's going to show up? Who's going
Yeah.
to make a play? I mean, that's what it comes down to. Who can make the most plays, especially in the big moments like Bingo Bob was just talking about. I
Yeah.
mean, at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. If I feel like if we can keep the game close within reach, the first half, that Lou's going to make his right adjustments. Lou always makes at halftime. We'll make some offensive adjustments. Hopefully, we're able to move the ball more easily and fundamentally down the
12
field.
personnel. Hopefully.
And hopefully, we can, at the very least, beat the spread. I think it's going to be a close game, man. I think it's going to be in the
It'll
20.
be a one-score game, probably.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, every
Should I say hopefully?
game against the Chiefs has been a 3-point game the past 4 years. 4 games, it's been 3 points every single game. Even with Browning, it was a 3-point game, wasn't it? Yeah, pretty sure.
Yeah.
No, I honestly, you're dead right. I mean, if you're not prepared this week, you're not going to get the opportunity to have the ball back with 2 minutes to go. You know what I mean? That's not going to happen this week.
Right.
And even if our defense comes out and stifles them like they've done, even in the games, those close games, the Chiefs still put up 24, 21 points in those games.
And have gotten up on us a couple times by 2 scores.
Yeah.
Dude, I just want to see somebody hit fucking Patrick, man. I'm
go
so
there.
tired of it, dude.
Shove
I'm
a
just so
tampon in that
tired of it,
queef,
dude.
bro.
Like, I just don't get it, dude. Like, you see some of his highlights, and like players are like deliberately missing him. Like, that's what it looks like. It's not that he's some fancy Lamar Jackson, because he's not. You know what I mean? Like, he's not. Dude runs like he's running on fucking coal and shit. Like,
I know, but he's the best quarterback in the NFL.
I just don't get it, man. I don't get it.
I know.
I think it's the elements around him that are help supporting. I think you take Patrick Mahomes.
Having a Hall of Fame head coach helps.
It's a different
story.
So
I got into a big debate on somebody on X Sunday because, like I said, I never get to enjoy the losses. By joy, I mean mope and be upset, like most fans, because I end up. It's my toxic trait. Come on, my toxic trait is I end up going on and defending the team, and I got into a debate with somebody on X after the game Sunday, and they asked me during it was actually like civil, asked me what did I think it is that the Chiefs have done over the past 3 or 4 years that makes them better than the Bengals. Because his original question was, I wish that the Bengals would do what the Chiefs do and just do it. Go do it. And I'm like, what is do it? Everybody's trying to do it. 31 teams in the league that aren't the Chiefs, including the Chiefs, mind you, are trying to do it. They're trying to win the championship. They're coming to work every day. Yeah, there's some bad coaching staffs out there. Even the Carolina Panthers, their coach is laying in bed right now thinking about what he can do to make that team better. And they're garbage. Like really garbage, not just a bad week garbage. Like they're garbage. And
Carolina.
My response to him was, in my opinion, only 3 things. 1, Patrick Mahomes had the benefit of Andy Reid having figured it out when he came in the league. When Patrick Mahomes took over as their quarterback, Andy Reid had already figured out how to do it. He has. He figured it out at the end of the Eagles, and he's figured it out with the Chiefs. Burrow is in a situation where him and Zach are figuring it out together. They're trying to figure out how to do it together. Patrick had the benefit of Andy Reid already knowing how to do it, how to stay at the curve of the meta of the game, how to draft and develop your players, which brings me to the second thing. The Chiefs have drafted and developed offensive linemen much better than us over the past 4 years. And they may not have some of the high-end talent that we've had over the decades, like Anthony Munoz, but they have drafted over the past 4 years in the modern era and developed offensive linemen at a tick better than any other team, especially us. And it's not for lack of resources because the Bengals have put money for 3 straight years now into this offensive line.
Also the Chiefs, though.
They have, but they're still drafting and developing better.
Yeah.
3 of their offensive linemen are guys they've drafted and developed. And they still went out and free agency. The same things we've done, they've just done it better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My point is just that we are built to compete with the Chiefs. We're not necessarily built to be with our division. We know that. We've talked about that. But we are built to compete with the Chiefs. this is almost the perfect comeback game for the Bengals. Because if you go into Arrowhead and you beat them week 2 and you're 1-1, they're 1-1. If the Ravens win, they're 1-1. All is right in the world. Everything's fine. Literally, all of the eruption that we've all had is completely irrelevant because you're 1-1 with the Chiefs and the Ravens, and you had the head-to-head against the Chiefs. And unfortunately, they're fighting an uphill graph battle that says we're terrible in week 2s. So they can accomplish so much by going into Kansas City and winning. I mean, it's almost immeasurable how much they can accomplish from top to bottom by going in and winning this game.
Absolutely.
You know?
But the proof is in the pudding, bro. You know?
100%.
I mean, they do a great job in disguising a lot about what they do on their offense. You know, a lot of fans that watch the Chiefs, they're like, you know, look how big Travis Kelce is. How does he always get open on big third downs, right? And it's route running, you know. I mean, they're dragging a receiver over the Z, you know, or he's running in the flat, or he's running a post. Like they're trapping the safeties so Travis can get open. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, if it's third down, dude, that's who Patrick is throwing to. Like he's proved it time and time again. If the game is on the line,
Well,
he's looking for Travis Kelce. You know,
have one
and
thing going for us because you didn't see none of that week 1. Baltimore Ravens showed you the game plan. They completely took him away.
they did until the end of the game.
Even at the dude, he didn't have shit at the end of the game.
Right there at the end of the game, he was still able to make that big catch on third down.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying. So again, it's great play designing because at the end of the day, Travis ain't that fast, bro. He's not one of the best shaped.
No, they just take advantage of mismatches.
Honestly, I think he's going to retire after this year.
It's simple
I think he's
shit.
going to too,
it's
man.
simple ass shit. It ain't nothing.
But they're trapping
spectacular.
safeties.
Here's the thing: the Bengals
Simple
have to
shit.
go into Kansas City and do what the Patriots just did to us.
Muck
We
it
got to
up.
go in. We got to control the ball, which ours is going to look different than the way the Patriots did it. We got to have long, sustained drives to keep Patrick off the field. And then you got to play almost zero mistake-free football. You got to have some of the lowest missed tackle per tick rate in the whole league that week. You got to make plays during the big moments throughout the game on big third downs. You got to connect on offense with whatever the design is. And on defense, you got to get off the field. It sounds stupid. I mean, simple. But that's how you beat the Chiefs is by being methodical, by just mechanically beating them up.
Most importantly, do not turn the ball over.
100%. You know?
Yeah, I mean that's something you just can't do. Period. You know, I mean, ball security is so huge in every game because of momentum. You know, you lose momentum in a game, and you've lost the game in a sense in that moment. Not entirely, but you've lost the game in that moment.
That Hudson was the game-winning touchdown in the second quarter, but you don't know it. That was the game-winning play, and you didn't know it.
That was all the momentum New England needed right there.
You didn't know it, and that was the winning play.
Well, do you guys got a score prediction for Kansas City?
Sure do, buddy. You want me to tell you my prediction first? Is that what you want?
That's fine.
Go ahead.
All right, man. I struggle with this, guys. Like I said, I mean, I will always pick the Bengals to win, regardless of what history tells me. You know, I mean, history tells me
we're homers. We're not that kind of podcast.
Well, no. Being a math kid in history and everything tells me we're going to lose this game 27-21. Right? That's what it tells me. 27-21. Maybe even a 27-20 final, right? But I'm going to go with Cincinnati on top, and I'm going to go 27-24 Cincinnati.
All right. Well,
with history or repeating
of
itself, you know.
You'd be breaking history, you know.
At the end of the day, it's probably going to come down to whoever has the ball last. It's happened time and time again. You know, I don't even know if I'm going to tell you who I think is going to win. I'm going to say it's going to be a one-score game. But I tell you what, if we do lose this game, we better show up and look a hell of a lot better than we did against New England.
You got to say who's going to win. Game like, I'm not going to say who's winning the game.
I mean, what the fuck, bro?
Just pick the Chiefs.
I'll say 24-21.
Chiefs?
Bengals.
Ray, you said 27-24.
Yeah, I said 27-24.
I'm just
But
saying, if,
like I said,
if we
my
don't win
gut
this
tells
game,
me we're going to
we
lose
better look a hell of a
27
lot
to
better.
19 or 20.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm just saying.
Well, if
we better look better.
if you're a Bengal Brothers historian, and I'm sure there's a couple out there, and you've watched every episode of season or listened to every episode of season 1, and you've listened to every episode of the off season and every episode of season 2, you'd know that never one time in this podcast history have any of us ever picked an opposing team. And it's not going to change now because I'm picking the Bengals. Because I'm telling you, I feel like win or lose this game. Wait, let me rephrase that. If you lose this game, the narrative doesn't change. We suck week 1 and week 2. All of the fans are going to pivot and hope that we're going to come back and beat the Commanders week 3 in prime time and right everything in the world and start a little run of, finishing the first quarter at, 3-2, 5-2. But if you win this game, the Bengals catapult themselves to being, a top 10 team already in the early part of the season. And God forbid the Ravens lose, which I don't think they're going to. You're 1-1 with the Ravens. There's
the Raiders are going to take care of business.
There's so much to gain by winning this game that this just feels like a Burrow game. It feels like the perfect game for him in the offseason to talk that talk and say, I want to give him something to talk about. Well, imagine the storylines if the Bengals go into Kansas City and win by 1 point, 3 points, 10 points. I mean, the following day, everyone's like, damn, the Patriots are pretty good. And the Bengals are who we thought they were. And I think that has to be the game for this. I think, yeah, everything's going to be fine. You're still going to have a chance to redeem yourself against the Commanders. But this just feels like the Burrow-Chase game where you're like, there's no T. Higgins. Burrow's going to be connecting on those third downs to Chase. It's going to, you're like, wow, there's a week 2 that we can stand behind.
Yeah, we need it.
So I'm going to go Bengals. And I'm going to actually have this a lower scoring game because I think both teams are going to treat it like a playoff game. I'm going to say 21-17 Cincinnati. Could be way off. Could nail it on the nuts.
Be on it, yeah.
But I don't know. Any final thoughts on the Chiefs before we move on?
No, man.
Bob? Alrighty.
I don't want to see Taylor Swift's face every 5 minutes on that TV screen. I'm telling you.
Don't be a hater.
I mean, at the end of the day, man, like we know what we're getting with them in Arrowhead. They know what we got. I mean, it's who wants it more. It's who wants it fucking more, man. And the aggressive team will win the game. And if that's not us, it's not us, dude.
Yeah.
Be on to Washington.
Which I'm scared to death of, bro.
Nah.
Yeah.
Scared to death of.
So,
let's not forget who hurt Joe Burrow the first time with his knee.
I know. But luckily that's a home game.
Why do you got to put that shit in the air? Come on.
Just telling you, bro. Not to mention, I mean, look, the Eagles were rolling last year, and guess who they lost to? So I don't take the Commanders very lightly. They might look like shit, like Patriots.
Well, I mean, we took the Patriots lightly, so I don't think we should take the Commanders lightly either.
I mean, again, dude, it's one of those things.
Take nobody
man.
lightly. It's the NFL.
For time purposes, and for yeah, I think we've had a lot of talk tonight. I could share some screenshots, but I think we've been on a roller coaster all night. I don't know what you guys
think. Bingo, Bob.
No, me too. And you. I mean, a couple times you were raging so hard, your background was glitching. It looked like you were like Super Saiyan.
It's bullshit, man. It's fucking bullshit. Go ahead. See,
I've literally seen some posts on Sunday from Bengals fans, from other opposing fans, and everything that I prepared a lot of them. Like I screenshotted a bunch. And, now that we've put week 1 behind us, I'm sitting here questioning whether I want to go through them. So let's do this. Bob,
Yeah.
What was one of the most toxic things you've seen about the Bengals this weekend?
They should draft another quarterback.
Damn it,
Somebody
man.
actually said that they should draft another quarterback.
Coach Ray, what was the most toxic thing you've seen?
The most toxic thing I saw, dude, was dude said that he smashed his TV and kicked his girlfriend out and her whole family out and got arrested over week 1. You think I'm raging bad?
Damn,
This guy put his fist through his fucking TV in week 1, bro.
damn. Yeah, that's pretty toxic.
I mean,
Honestly,
that's
I
pretty
think the
hard.
most toxic thing I seen all weekend was some of like the Bengals influencers like raging on X. Like some of them have podcasts and
Mhm.
tens of thousands of followers in the Bengals community. There's one of the cats, and they're like burn the whole city, burn the team down, sell the team, move away from Riverfront. I mean, they're like, man, that's embarrassing when you got season tickets. You got to go look at people.
Oh yeah, man. Selling TVs trying to pay Jamar, you know?
Yeah, that was last week's one.
Fucking toxic people.
All right, so we're not going to spend too much time on Toxic Talk. We want it to be a quick thing each week to just share some stuff. Sometimes it'll be images, sometimes it'll be videos. Sometimes it'll be us talking about the toxic things we've seen that week. But part of the reason why, for time's sake, we want to move on is to the other new segment, since he's finest 5 head coaches. And yeah, honestly, I don't know how you guys go ahead, Ray.
I've been thinking about this, man. I think we should name one a week.
Well, here's the thing. We're going to do a new topic every week. Okay. So, this is something I've talked to somebody about. We the three of us have talked a lot about this. And, if we really did it thoroughly, we would have all these graphics. We would have all these images of the head coach and the years they were. I almost went down the deep dived and did that for all 10 head coaches in Bengals franchise history. But I didn't, because I want this to be something that's fairly casual, where we're just basically discussing who we believe the finest 5 of whatever that is in census history. Head coaches is just the first topic. And, which by the end of this, we're going to announce what next week's is. So that's some suspense for the people watching. So let's get into this. So I got a couple of facts about Bengals head coaches just to kick us off. And then we'll start with Bob. Then we'll go to Ray. Then we'll go to me, and we'll do our 5 head coaches. Okay. So this is just some general facts about Bengals head coaches. There's been 10 head coaches in Bengals franchise history. 10. Okay. 3 of them are Hall of Famers. Did you guys know that there was 3 Bengal coach Hall of Famers? Dick LeBeau, Paul Brown, and Forrest Gregg.
Forrest Gregg,
yeah.
2 of those are Hall of Famers for being a player, not a coach, though. Paul Brown, Hall of Famer for being a coach, right? And the last fun fact, actually 2 fun facts. There's 3 Bengals coaches of the 10 history that never made it past 3 seasons. So 3 of their 10 head coaches were the head coach hired and fired within 3 seasons. And the last fun fact, do you guys know who the lowest win percentage, without trying to look at it, of all 10 head coaches, who had the lowest win percentage? If you had to guess.
I'd say probably Dave Shula or Dick LeBeau.
I'd say probably what was his name? Bill Johnson?
Dick LeBeau. Dick LeBeau had the lowest
Bill
win
Johnson
percentage
and Dick LeBeau, yeah.
at 267.267. So he just barely won a quarter of the games he coached. Okay. So Bob will kick us off, and let's hear your 5 head coaches in Bengals history from 5 to 1. You don't have to go too much detail about each one, but a little bit about each one and why your thought process was on the 5 and how you ordered it and all that. Because we all have different criteria, I'm sure. So
yeah, I guess 5 would have to be Marvin Lewis. Just for the way he changed this organization from what it was in the '90s. 4, I'd probably go Forrest Gregg. Yeah, I'd probably go Forrest Gregg. Um, 3, it's really close between Sam Wyche and Marvin Lewis. I love both the coaches. They're both been in my time. I've got to watch both those guys coach.
Wasn't Marvin 5? Or you just
What?
Marvin was 5, wasn't he?
Was he 5?
Yeah.
You said Marvin at 5, then you said Forrest at 4,
Yeah.
and then
Let me
you said
start by
Sam
one.
at
Just
3.
hold on a minute. Let me
Okay,
start by 1 because I keep got Paul Brown in my mind. Paul Brown should be 1 automatically. Okay.
As Cincinnati's greatest coach.
Yeah, I mean they're the reason why he's the reason we're a team. So I'd say Paul Brown 1. We'll go Zach Taylor 2, Forrest Gregg 3, Sam Wyche 4, and then Marvin Lewis 5. Yeah.
Okay. Ray, what do you think?
Interesting, bro. Yeah, man. I'm gonna go Dick LeBeau at 5. Again, a defensive minded guy, which leads me into my 4th, which is Marvin Lewis at 4. Another defensive minded driven guy, And then I mean the top 3 is really tough for me, dude. Like I get your point with Paul. Absolutely, he should be in the top 3. I get your point with Forrest. Absolutely, he should be in the top 3. Sam, in my mind, should be in the top 3. But at the end of the day, Zach fits in that equation too. So if I had to say 3, 2, 1, I'd probably go with Paul at 3, and then Zach at 2, and Forrest at 1.
And Marvin again, at 5, and who was 4?
And again, that's leaving them out of it.
Oh no, Dick LeBeau was 5, Marvin was 4.
That's leaving Sam Wyche out of it. And Sam Wyche, dude. I mean, again, he's our era. I mean, we watched him with Boomer Esiason. We watched that AFC Championship game.
We watched Dick LeBeau
what
too,
I mean?
so that's kind of
so it's really tough, man. At the end of the day, it's about I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I said, you can flip prop 3 and 4 if you wanted to, but
so what were your 5? You had Dick tough, at 5, Marvin at 4, Paul Brown at 3,
Paul at 3, Zach at 2, and Forrest at 1.
Bobby, you had Marvin at 5.
Marvin at 5.
Wyche at 4.
Wyche at 4. Zach Taylor or Forrest Gregg at 3. It could be either one. Forrest Gregg at 2. Paul Brown at 1. I definitely ain't got no Dick on there.
I mean, if you go
I was surprised.
If you go off just appearances, I mean, 1, 2, and 3 should definitely go to Sam, Zach, and Forrest. I mean, I don't know how you don't.
So here's how I looked at this. And honestly, I spent way too much time looking at this. I'm not even going to lie. Like at work and in spare time when I was like playing games or doing it at the house, like just because I've never done it with our head coaches other than Paul Brown. So I spent way too much time on it. It is actually unbelievably close, the statistics between the top 5 head coaches and the bottom 5. So the Bengals have had 10 head coaches since our founding, right? Founding 6'7", first season 68, all the way to present Zach Taylor. Paul Brown to Zach Taylor. 10 head coaches. 5 of them were pretty much god-awful. So you could, in my opinion, as Bengal coaches, you could eliminate 5 people right off the bat. And Shula, Johnson,
LeBeau,
Dick LeBeau, Schumer, and Bruce Coslet. So that leaves you with the top 5, right? 3 of those top 5 coaches have won an AFC championship and been to a Super Bowl. However, I think Paul Brown, when the NFL did their top 100 of everything, top 100 quarterbacks, receivers, linemen, coaches, offensive coordinators for the 100th season, the number 1 innovator in the history of football is Paul Brown. the NFL owes so much to Paul Brown for face masks. Most of its modern rules, the way things are operated. Paul Brown won first divisions for this team as a head coach and won first playoff games with this and carried the team over through the merger. I think Paul Brown is the best coach in history. And then you take the three, and they're all so close statistically that have won an AFC championship, been to a Super Bowl. Zach Taylor, Sam Wyche, and Forrest Gregg. Literally all have 2 division wins, have an AFC championship win, and 2 playoff berths.
Mm-hmm.
The difference is Wyche coached 8 seasons. So Zach has accomplished the same thing that Wyche accomplished, the exact same thing, but in literally 4 less years. So for me, that puts Zach ahead of Sam Wyche. Forrest Gregg accomplished the same thing as both of them, but in basically 3 seasons. Marvin Lewis never made an AFC championship, but Marvin is the all-time games coached, all-time seasons coached, all-time wins, as the
7
all-time
berths.
playoff berths, and aside from only 2 other coaches have a higher winning percentage than him, despite how many games he coached. Marvin Lewis's resume as a Bengals coach, if he would have just made it to an AFC championship or won an AFC championship, he would be the second greatest coach in Bengals franchise history, and it wouldn't even be close.
I agree.
So I think it's Marvin at 5. You put Sam Wyche at 4, Zach Taylor at 3, Forrest Gregg, who has the highest win percentage, although he coached the fewest games, at 2, and Paul Brown at 1.
So ours are almost identical then.
I think that Zach gets the nose over Sam Wyche, but Forrest Gregg gets the nose over Zach.
Over him, right.
And Paul Brown is the greatest innovator of football of all time. So it's hard to compare the apples to oranges, but to say that Paul Brown, the founder, first playoffs wins, the history of the franchise isn't probably the greatest coach would be, but it's about opinion.
Right.
So, and I didn't even switch these over. Sorry, I was so locked in that I didn't even switch the graphic over. But yeah, so next week, since he's finest 5 quarterbacks in history.
Ooh, there's a good one.
We're doing quarterbacks next week. So we will go through and just like we just did. And I'm going to cut this up. This is going to be just that section of us doing coaches. I'm going to do since he's finest 5 every week. So if you're watching this and then you're watching this in the coming days, you might be able to go watch right now this segment, which I don't know why you'd watch it twice, but maybe you stumbled upon it. Maybe you're watching the segment right now and you didn't even know there was a podcast. And now you're going to go watch this live episode. But then in this part of the live episode, you're going to be thinking about the segment that you watched that led you to the live segment.
Oh, boy.
That's called podcast inception.
Yeah, it is. Well, guys, it's been great tonight.
Yeah. Any final week 2 predictions or best bet or anything like that, guys?
No.
Nothing, Bingo
I guess
Bob?
that's
No. No, I got quiet as fuck. Yeah.
I said too much shit before week 1, so I'm staying quiet this week. It is what it is. Let's see what happens.
Honestly, I want to say while we're giving our closing thoughts, I just want to tell everybody to take a breath. I think that we've been bad week 1 and week 2, and we can't change it until next offseason. And I'm 100% on board. They need to completely overhaul the offseason because this can't happen again.
I mean, it's
But
just
they got
whatever
to focus on
they're
Kansas
doing.
City.
Like I said, whatever
Yeah.
they're doing, man, from camp to preseason to week 1, it's not working. It's
Right.
not working,
But it's not the end of the world for right now. We have to fix it going forward. It's not acceptable. But right now, you got to focus on Kansas City. You got 17 weeks ahead. So
Time marches on.
just like the team does, we have to focus on the same thing. And we'll be right back here next week at 8:30 talking about maybe the same thing, or maybe we're talking about a big ass win in Kansas City.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Maybe I might just show up at my brother's house and whoop their ass, man.
I think this is a big spread. It's like 6 points. Chiefs minus 6.
Points.
I think it's
Yep.
pretty big. I don't know. I might put a little Betsky on the Bengals to cover the points.
So the question is, you think it's going to get bigger, or you think it's going to go down?
I think it's going to go down closer to game time.
Yeah, I think so too.
It might.
Well, honestly, if Jamar Chase has a full week of practice, it's going to go down.
Yeah, we'll see if he practices tomorrow.
T probably ain't playing. We didn't talk about any actual game shit, roster shit. We just argued the whole podcast. This has definitely been a different format.
Yeah.
That's why I skipped through toxic talk, because I was pretty much already.
We never discussed the defense and their 13 missed tackles, but it is what it is.
Yeah. In all fairness to the defense, they held them to 16 points.
Yeah, so it is what it is.
But it's still, they got out physical in every aspect of the game. The trenches, the corners did, safeties. Von Bell looked like shit. He looked old. Jordan Battle, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Jordan Battle may come in and play more, and you may see a little less of Dax Hill.
Yeah, if Vaughn is all of
a little more or less of Dax Hill or Cam Taylor-Britt.
No, I'm talking about.
I'm sorry, I don't remember Bingo Bob. Who got carried down the field on that last run?
I'm talking about Battle taking
Dax
over
Hill.
for Von Bell.
No, that was Cam, bro. That was Cam that went for a 7-8
Go back and watch
yard.
the tape.
Cam went for a strip,
tape, bro.
Yeah, Cam went for a strip on the big
This guy and his wannabe.
He did go for the strip, but he also got rode on for 7 or 8 yards.
So I'm agreeing with you. Yeah.
So again, I don't know where Bingo Bob keeps coming up with this shit, singling out Dax Hill. He's been doing it since last fucking year, bro. And I'm done listening to it.
I was talking about Battle taking over more for Von Bell.
God, I'm not an Ohio State fan. I'm not a Buckeyes fan.
Could have fooled me.
I was talking about Battle getting more reps over Von Bell because Von Bell kind of looked a little old.
He did look,
but it's week one. Honestly, I was getting ready to go into a very sentimental closing segment about how the world's not ending and everything's focused on Kansas City, and then we quickly went right back to toxic talk
because this motherfucker can't
look to see more DJ Turner this week. You'll see more DJ Turner this week, I promise.
I doubt it, bro.
They're gonna stick with Dax. You got to.
We'll see.
Just like everybody else, they got to let Dax figure it out. It's week one.
Yeah, he's got.
Well, again, it's a numbers thing. That's fine. You can look back at the tape, and when you look at the stats, look who led in tackles along with Logan, bro.
Yeah, he had the most missed tackles, but no, I've been agreeing with you. I've been agreeing with you.
I don't care how many tackles you make. If you don't make the big ones,
and again, like he's transitioning into a new position, which we talked about
100%
early in the podcast
100%.
in the season.
Yeah, they got to stick with him to give him a chance to work it out.
The concept of that.
We'll see what happens.
He didn't play bad aside from having to set the edge, which he shouldn't have to set the edge. The Patriots kept putting us schematically in that look. And Lou kept it. They would motion over. It'd be Dax have to set the edge.
Hater, bro.
They blow him up. They blow his ass up. Anyway,
I've never heard.
Thanks everybody for watching.
I have never heard any fan, any National Football League real fan, put down one of their players.
I don't
period,
put him down.
Whether it's offense or defense. Period. Like you have consistently put Dax Hill down since last season doing.
I'm not a fan of him, but
and you've continued it this year
until he changes my mind. It's the way it's going to be. Who day? Thanks everybody for checking us out tonight.
No, Bobby treats Dax Hill how Ray treats Zach Taylor.
Yeah, pretty much.
There's a big difference there, though, bro. It's a big fucking.
You know what? This has been a great episode.
Man. Dick LeBeau on your list. Come on. Dick LeBeau on your top 5 coaches.
Dick LeBeau was one of our best players, coach. You could talk shit about Dick all you want and talk about, whatever, how he came from Pittsburgh and went back to Pittsburgh. You can run your mouth all you want, bro. But that's a player's coach, and he was one of the best we had. So, again, it's my opinion, not yours. So he's on my list. He doesn't have to be on your list. The same with Marvin, a great players coach. Came from the Ravens.
Yeah.
I mean, what the fuck, bro?
2000 Ravens, one of the greatest defenses
ever. Along with Dick LeBeau's
Absolutely.
12-33 record. Great coach, buddy.
You just looked that up?
Listen.
Hey, guys. We appreciate everybody.
The world's not falling. The world's not falling. Hey, this is week one. It's the definition of overreaction Monday on a Tuesday.
Bro. It is.
It's overreaction Tuesday.
It is.
We'll figure out a lot this week. Maybe it'll be more the same. Maybe it won't be.
Maybe it won't be.
That's true, bro. Hey, real fast, you know what I really blame it on? the orange fucking get up, bro.
A lot of people are saying that.
Hey, fun fact: look up our record every time we wear the orange jersey. It ain't pretty, boys.
Probably not
That's all
very
I'm
good.
saying.
Yeah.
It ain't pretty. And now we threw pants with it. So what'd you expect was gonna
People
happen?
were saying burn it.
But yeah, I'm
All
with
right.
you guys, man. Have a good night. Thanks for watching, everybody. You know, again, click, like, tag the bell,
Share.
subscribe.
We'll every Tuesday night at 8:30 we'll be here. So come back next week, and hopefully it'll be less toxic talk and more positive talk. Which that'd be a good segment to counter that.
Yeah,
have a good one.
Who day?
Who day?